Pleasant morning, children. Happy to see you all again. We were discussing about the second chapter, that is microorganism, friend and foe. In previous session, we have learned some of the uses of the microorganism. Today, we are going to see the medicinal use of the microorganism. Medicinal use by vaccine. So, this vaccine was discovered by Edward Jenner in the year 1978. He discovered the vaccine for smallpox, which is a virus disease. Before entering to the vaccine, we have to know about the term antibodies. What is antibodies? Where it is produced and what is the role of the antibody? The role of the antibody is to kill the disease-causing microorganism. So their work is to kill and destroy the disease-causing microorganisms, which is harmful to us. And this is produced in our body. So it is produced in our body by the immune system. The antibody is produced in our body and their role is to destroy the disease-causing microorganism. And the special role, it can able to remember how to fight with the same microorganism which invades another time. Okay, so they can able to remember that they can store the memory how they can able to fight the same microorganism again. So now you are clear about the antibodies, and now we are going to see about the vaccine. So vaccine, what is vaccine and what is the role of the vaccine? The role of the vaccine is to stimulate the immune system and to produce the antibody. As we know, the role of the antibody is to kill and destroy the disease-causing microorganism. So here, vaccine is nothing but the dead and weakened microbes are introduced into a healthy body. Vaccine is nothing but which contains a dead and weakened microorganism. So this is not harmful to us, but because this microorganism is dead condition. So this is get introduced in our body. Automatically the immune system gets stimulates. Okay, so because the foreign particles which get enters and it gets started to stimulate and the antibody is produced and they destroys the dead microorganism and they can able to remember how to fight this microorganism if it comes again. Okay, so this is the role of vaccine. And we have the vaccines for cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox and hepatitis, and giving vaccine is process called vaccination. This vaccination should be given at the correct age. So after the birth, the first vaccine which is given is tuberculosis, that is TB vaccine we are telling now. So that is given to a infant. Okay, this is to avoid the tuberculosis in the infant. So next is about the harmful microorganism. Harmful microorganism which can cause disease. Okay, so this is not only for particular, it is for all plant, human beings and animals, they cause disease. And disease causing microorganism, it is called as pathogens. Okay, so whichever the microorganism which is causing disease, that is called as pathogens. Not only causing disease, some of the things that is spoiling food and cloth and the leathers. So this is also get destroyed by the microorganism. We have seen some harmful effects of microorganism. Now we are going to discuss the harmful microorganisms, that is disease-causing microorganisms in human beings. First, we have to know the term communicable disease. What is communicable disease? By the word, you can understand that the disease is get transferred from one person to the other person. That is called as communicable disease. So the disease which is get transferred from one person to the other person, it is called as communicable disease. And this is done by the mode of air, water, food and by the physical contact. Okay, so these are the mode which can transfer the disease from one person to the other person. And some of the diseases they have given, that is cholera, common cold, chicken pox and tuberculosis. These are the communicable diseases. And in present situation, now you know that we are in the attack of corona. This is also a communicable disease and this is transferred by the mode of air and by the physical contact. That's why we are advised to wear the mask and to avoid the physical contact with the other persons. Okay, so now you are clear with the communicable disease. What is communicable disease? Next, what is carriers? Carriers is nothing but which carries the disease causing microorganisms, that is called as carriers. Here mosquitoes on house flies are the carriers. and that is what we are advised to cover the food always. Okay, if you see, this mosquitoes and houseflies often sit on the food particles and leave the microorganisms in the food particles, and if we intake that food, it may cause disease in the human beings. Okay, so that is what we are advised to cover the food, and these are the carriers, that is mosquitoes and the houseflies, which is carrying the disease causing microorganisms. So here they have given some of the carriers, that is female Anopheles mosquito, which is the parasite of malaria, and the disease causing microorganism is Plasmodium, which is the protozoan disease. So you know the meaning of parasite, which stays in the host and take the nourishment from the host, that is the parasite. This Plasmodium is a parasite which stays in the female Anopheles mosquito and they causes the disease, that is malaria. Okay, now you are clear with the female Anopheles mosquito. Next, it is female Aedes mosquito which cause the dengue fever, that is the viral fever. Okay, and this all the mosquitoes will breed in water, that they lay eggs in the water. So that is what we are advised not to allow the water to be in the stagnant. Okay, so we have to clear the water. Okay, not to let water to collect anywhere. We have to clear the water as soon as possible to avoid these kind of diseases. Some of the disease causing microorganisms, mode of transmission and the prevention method. So the first disease, that is chickenpox, measles, polio and hepatitis. These diseases are caused by the microorganism, it is virus, and the mode of transmission, it is by air and the water. So what are the prevention methods to taken to avoid this disease? That is isolation, vaccination at correct age and drinking the boiled water. Isolation, they have to separated, they have to be keep separated from the diseased person, and the vaccination at the correct age. So the vaccines have to be taken at the correct age, and drinking the boiled water. From these measures, by taking these measures, we can avoid these kind of disease. And next set of disease, that is typhoid, tuberculosis and cholera. The microorganism, it is caused by the bacteria, and the mode of transmission is by water, air and by the food. So what are the prevention method taken? So we have to have the good personal hygiene and properly cooked food and drink the boiled water. So good personal hygiene, we have to keep ourselves clean, and the properly cooked food we have to take, and we have to drink the boiled water to avoid these kind of disease. At last, it is malaria. It is caused by the protozoa, the microorganism protozoa, and the mode of transmission is by the mosquitoes. So we have to use repellents and not to let water to collect anywhere. So this may give the chance for the mosquitoes to breed and the lay eggs, and they can cause the disease too. So repellents, we have to make a net in the windows, and we can apply the repellents, that is like Odomos, to avoid the mosquitoes bite. So these are the some of the disease and mode of transmission and the prevention method. We will continue this chapter in the next class. Thank you.